Kate Middleton stuns in Princess Diana's favorite tiara.
But take a close look at her tiara.
Yeah?
That's one of Princess Diana's favorites.
The Duchess of Cambridge honors her late mother-in-law, donning one of Diana's favorite tiaras to a diplomatic reception at Buckingham Palace.
Now to Duchess Kate paying tribute to her late mother-in-law, Princess Diana. Kate wearing Diana's favorite tiara at the royals' biggest bash of the year last night.
In a moment that stunned the world, Princess Catherine stepped into the royal spotlight wearing Princess Diana's most beloved tiara. What was meant to be a glamorous night at Buckingham Palace turned into a deeply emotional confrontation between past and present. As Catherine's tiara glittered in the light, Queen Camilla's smile faded, and behind closed doors, emotions ran high. Was it just a piece of jewelry, or did it carry an unspoken message that left the entire royal family and the world reeling? Let's uncover the truth behind this shocking moment. Last night, at what was supposed to be a tranquil royal evening, one moment completely altered the course of the event. Princess Catherine, known for her poise and elegance, entered the room wearing a piece of jewelry that stopped everyone in their tracks. It wasn't just any tiara. It was the lover's knot tiara, a piece that once belonged to her late mother-in-law, Princess Diana. The room, which had been filled with the usual buzz of royal events, became eerily quiet. Eyes turned toward her as the significance of her choice began to sink in. For many, this was more than just a fashion statement. The lover's knot tiara, with its intricate design and shining diamonds, holds a deep emotional connection to the royal family, and especially to Diana. As Catherine made her way through the crowd, the impact of her wearing the tiara was felt almost immediately. It wasn't just about the diamonds or the beauty of the piece. It was about the memories it carried. The tiara had been worn by Diana during some of the most public and private moments of her life. Its presence in the room was a reminder of a legacy that had never truly faded, even though Diana passed away more than 2 decades ago. The royal family members, who are often experts in handling high-profile events with grace, seemed caught off guard. Queen Camilla, who entered the room shortly after Catherine, appeared flawless as always, wearing her own tiara. However, those who were watching closely saw something in her demeanor shift when she noticed Catherine wearing Diana's tiara. Her smile, though still present, seemed less confident. There was a subtle hesitation in her step, and her gaze quickly shifted away from Catherine. For a moment, it felt as though the weight of the past had quietly entered the room, uninvited but impossible to ignore. At that moment, the tiara became much more than just a piece of jewelry. It was a symbol of Diana's presence, her influence, and the emotional undercurrent that flows through the royal family. As Catherine stood there, wearing the tiara that once belonged to Diana, it reminded everyone of a time long gone, but never truly forgotten. The diamonds glimmered, but the emotional weight they carried was undeniable. In that moment, it wasn't just Catherine wearing the tiara. It was Diana's memory that seemed to fill the room. The event, which was meant to be a formal, high society gathering, had suddenly turned into something much more emotional. Those who understood the significance of royal traditions knew that every piece of jewelry tells a story. The lover's knot. Tiara wasn't just beautiful, it had a history, one that had been intertwined with Diana's life. When Catherine chose to wear it, she wasn't just making a fashion choice. She was quietly bringing that history back to life, reminding everyone of Diana's strength, grace, and the complicated legacy that still lingers. For Queen Camilla, the emotional impact of that moment went far beyond the surface. In many ways, she had tried to distance herself from the shadow of Diana. Despite her status as the queen consort, there has always been a public divide when it comes to her relationship with Diana's legacy. In many ways, the tiara represented everything Camilla could never have: Diana's place in the royal family, her connection to the people, and the emotional bond that she had with the public. As the night went on, the tension in the room seemed to settle, but for those who were paying attention, it was clear that something had shifted. The tiara wasn't just a conversation piece, it had become a a message about legacy, love, and the way that history is quietly passed down through generations. Catherine's decision to wear it was a reminder of Diana's lasting influence on the royal family and the public's continued affection for her. It was also a reminder that for all the titles and positions, it's the emotional connection to the past that often holds the most power in the royal family. Catherine's appearance in the lover's knot tiara wasn't just about looking beautiful at a royal event. It was about stepping into a legacy that still resonates with people all around the world. The public didn't just see a princess. They saw a woman who, in many ways, had quietly taken up the mantle of a beloved figure. And in that moment, the tiara became more than just a piece of royal jewelry. It became a symbol of Diana's continued presence in the royal family and the bond that Catherine shared with her. The event at Buckingham Palace was meant to be an opportunity for royal family members to shine in their finest attire, but the presence of the lover's knot tiara shifted the focus. It became a moment that would be remembered not for the grandeur of the occasion, but for the emotional weight carried by the tiara that Catherine wore. It was a simple yet powerful act, one that would be discussed long after the event had ended. For Queen Camilla, it was a quiet reminder of a legacy that she could never truly claim, no matter her position within the royal family. As the night progressed, the story of the tiara and the emotions it stirred would undoubtedly linger in the minds of those who witnessed the event. Catherine, wearing the lover's knot tiara, had not just made a fashion statement. She had made a statement about family, history, and the unspoken power that resides in royal symbols. The tiara wasn't just about shining diamonds. It was about shining a light on the legacy of a woman who had captured the hearts of the world and whose memory, through Catherine, would continue to shine brightly in the future. The lover's knot. Tiara is not just a beautiful piece of royal jewelry. It represents something much deeper for those within the royal family. To the public, it may appear to be just a sparkling headpiece, a symbol of royal elegance. But for Queen Camilla, the tiara holds a much more painful and personal meaning. It is a constant reminder of the role she was never allowed to fully step into, the admiration she never truly received, and the love that always seemed to belong to someone else. Princess Diana. For many years, Diana was the heart of the royal family, and the tiara became an inseparable part of her image. She wore it during some of the most unforgettable and emotional moments of her life. It was seen during official events, state dinners, and public appearances, but also during her most personal and painful times. The tiara wasn't just an accessory, it was a shield, a symbol of power and grace, even when Diana was enduring her own struggles. Despite everything she went through, she remained composed, and the tiara became a powerful symbol of her resilience. For Camila, seeing the tiara again, this time worn by Catherine, must have stirred up emotions that she had long tried to bury. As queen consort, Camila had finally reached the position she had long aspired to, yet the shadow of Diana's legacy continues to follow her. No matter how hard she tried to step into the royal spotlight, Diana's presence, her influence, always seemed to overshadow her. It was clear that even after Diana's tragic passing, her memory continued to live on, and it remained stronger in the eyes of the public than any other royal figure, including Camilla. When Catherine stepped into that royal banquet wearing Diana's tiara, it wasn't just an elegant gesture. It was a statement, one that many people instantly recognized. Diana's legacy is woven into the fabric of the royal family, and seeing that tiara once again brought back memories that many thought had long faded. For Camilla, the sight of Catherine wearing it could not have been easy. It was a painful reminder of the past, of the admiration and affection that Diana had received, and the love that she was never able to capture for herself. In the royal family, everything is symbolic. Every piece of jewelry, every item worn, holds meaning beyond its outward appearance. The tiaras aren't just fashion statements. They are part of a royal legacy. When the tiara was passed down to Catherine, it wasn't just about rank or tradition. It was about something much more personal. It was a way for the royal family to keep Diana's memory alive, and the fact that Catherine now wore it seemed to symbolize the continuation of Diana's influence. In some ways, it could be seen as an unspoken tribute to Diana, a gesture to honor her memory and to pass on the legacy she left behind. Camilla, however, was in a very different position. She may have worn other tiaras, and she may have held the title of queen consort, but the tiara that Diana had once worn was never meant to be hers. For many royal watchers, it was clear that Camilla would have wanted to wear the lover's knot tiara. It represented so much more than just a piece of jewelry. It was a connection to Diana, a way to show that she had earned her place in the royal family. Yet, when it was passed on to Catherine instead, it served as a painful reminder that Camilla would never truly have the same connection with Diana that Catherine seemed to have, not just as a daughter-in-law, but as someone who naturally carried forward Diana's spirit. The public's affection for Diana has never faded. Even years after her passing, the love for her remains strong, and it's clear that many people continue to see Diana's influence in Catherine. Wearing the tiara wasn't just about following a royal tradition. It was about continuing the legacy of a woman who had captured the hearts of millions. Catherine, with her calm demeanor and grace, seemed to effortlessly step into the role that Diana once held, representing everything that the public loved about the late princess. The tiara wasn't just a beautiful accessory. It was a symbol of the connection between Catherine and Diana, a reminder of the enduring affection the public still has for the Princess of Wales. For Camilla, this emotional bond between Catherine and Diana must have been difficult to watch. Despite her years of service and dedication to the royal family, Camilla could not replicate the emotional connection that Diana had with the public. Diana's legacy has always been something that Camilla, no matter how hard she tried, could never fully embrace. When Catherine wore the tiara, it was a quiet reminder that despite her position as queen consort, Camilla would always be seen as someone who had come second to Diana in the hearts of the people. It wasn't just about the jewelry, it was about the emotions that came with it. The tiara represented a history and a legacy that Camilla was never a part of, and that reality likely weighed heavily on her. What made the moment even more poignant was the way in which Catherine wore the tiara. It wasn't just an accessory for her, it was a tribute to the woman who had worn it before. Catherine had no need to try and emulate Diana's style or personality. She simply wore the tiara, and in doing so, she reminded everyone of Diana's strength, elegance, and warmth. The tiara wasn't just a piece of jewelry, it was a living symbol of Diana's legacy. And as Catherine wore it, she became a part of that legacy, carrying it forward into a new generation. The royal family is built on symbols, and the tiaras are perhaps the most powerful of those symbols. Each one tells a story of love, loss, and history. When the lover's knot tiara was passed to Catherine, it wasn't just a royal gesture. It was a way of acknowledging that Diana's legacy would live on, not just in memory, but in the future of the royal family. Catherine, with her natural grace and poise, had become the perfect custodian of that legacy. For Camilla, that moment must have been particularly hard to bear. No matter how many royal jewels she wore, she could never replicate the emotional bond that Catherine had with the public. The tiara wasn't just about diamonds or beauty, it was about the connection to Diana, a connection that for Camilla would always be out of reach. The moment Catherine wore the lover's knot tiara, it sent a message that could not be ignored. Diana's legacy would continue, but it would not be Camilla who carried it forward. For those in the royal family and for the public, the tiara became a reminder of something much deeper than a royal accessory. It was about history, about legacy, and about the emotional connections that define the royal family. Catherine's decision to wear it was a powerful statement, not just about her own role in the family, but about the enduring power of Diana's memory. And for Camilla, watching from the sidelines, It was a painful reminder of the legacy she could never truly claim, no matter the title she held. Catherine's appearance at the royal event, wearing Princess Diana's beloved lover's knot tiara, did more than just add a touch of sparkle to the evening. It became a pivotal moment in the ongoing narrative of the royal family. The tiara, once a symbol of Diana's strength, grace, and dignity, was now worn by Catherine, a woman who had silently stepped into the role that many felt Diana had once held in the royal family. Catherine's poise, her effortless elegance, and the ease with which she carried herself in the tiara seemed to confirm what many had suspected for years. She was becoming the face of the monarchy in a way that no one, not even Queen Camilla, could replicate. As Catherine entered the room, all eyes were drawn to her. It wasn't just the sparkling diamonds or the exquisite craftsmanship of the tiara that captured attention. It was the feeling behind it. The lover's knot. Tiara wasn't just a beautiful heirloom. It was a piece of history, carrying with it the memory of a woman who had captured the hearts of the public. For many, seeing Catherine wear it felt like witnessing Diana's spirit once again in the royal family. It wasn't just about looking like a princess. It was about carrying the legacy of one, too. For the public, this moment was significant. The royal family, especially the monarchy's women, are not only judged by their titles or their appearances, they are also judged by the connection they hold with the people. Catherine has spent years quietly building a deep bond with the public. Through her charity work, her graceful handling of public pressure, and her ability to remain composed under scrutiny, she has won the hearts of many. Her connection to the people is undeniable, and when she stepped out wearing Diana's tiara, it felt as though she was not only wearing jewelry, but also the hearts of millions who still remember Diana's legacy. It's important to note that Catherine never tried to position herself as the second coming of Diana. She didn't need to. She has always been her own person, carving out a role for herself that, while informed by Diana's legacy, is uniquely her own. Catherine's charm lies in her authenticity and her ability to make those around her feel seen and valued. She doesn't have to put on a show or try to emulate Diana's style. She simply is, and that is what makes her connection to the public so powerful. When she wears the tiara, it's not a mere nod to Diana's past. It's a quiet continuation of that legacy, one that speaks volumes to those who understand the emotional significance of the moment. For Queen Camilla, witnessing Catherine wear the lover's knot tiara must have been difficult. Despite her years of dedication to the royal family, despite her hard-fought battle for acceptance, Camilla has always struggled to fully win over the public's affection. She has worked hard to establish herself in her new role, but the shadow of Diana's legacy continues to loom large. No matter how many public appearances she makes or how many royal jewels she wears, Camilla has never been able to secure the same emotional connection with the public that Diana and now Catherine have. It's not that Camilla doesn't have her own strengths or qualities that are admired by the royal family or the public. She has undoubtedly worked tirelessly and has performed her duties as queen consort with grace and professionalism. But there's something intangible that Catherine possesses, a connection to the people that Camilla has never been able to replicate. It's an emotional bond, one that is built on warmth, charity, and a kind of quiet dignity that doesn't need to be announced to the world. Catherine doesn't try to win hearts. She simply has them. And that, perhaps, is the most powerful asset she possesses within the royal family. The public's affection for Diana has never waned, and that affection is now projected onto Catherine. Diana's memory lives on, not only in the hearts of those who knew her, but in the public's continued admiration for the woman who has seamlessly stepped into her place. When Catherine wears Diana's tiara, it's not just about continuing royal tradition. It's about honoring a legacy that is still felt today. Catherine has, in many ways, become the modern-day embodiment of Diana's spirit, and this connection with the public only grows stronger with time. Camilla, on the other hand, finds herself in a more complicated position. As queen consort, she holds the highest official title in the royal family, but she does not have the same deep emotional connection with the public that Catherine has. This divide has only been highlighted by the moment when Catherine wore the lover's knot tiara. While Camilla may have been granted many royal jewels and the title of Queen Consort, it's Catherine who has been granted something much more significant: the affection and love of the public. And that is something no title, no matter how grand, can ever replace. It's easy to overlook the emotional weight of this divide when looking at the royal family from the outside. The titles, the jewels, the pomp and circumstance of royal life can sometimes overshadow the deeper connections that define the monarchy. But for those who understand the intricacies of royal relationships, it's clear that the emotional bond between Catherine and the public cannot be replicated by Camilla, no matter how many tiaras she wears or how many royal duties she fulfills. When Catherine stepped out wearing Diana's tiara, it wasn't just about the jewelry. It was about the legacy she was carrying forward. It was a quiet tribute to Diana, but also a reminder of the role Catherine now plays in the royal family. She doesn't just wear the tiara, she wears Diana's legacy. And with it, she has become the face of the future monarchy. The tiara is not just a piece of precious metal and diamonds. It is a symbol of the love and affection that the public still feels for Diana. And it's clear that Catherine now shares in that same love, a love that has never truly been extended to Camilla. For Camilla, the moment must have been bittersweet. She has spent years working to establish herself within the royal family. But no matter how many royal duties she performs or how many jewels she wears, she will always be measured against the memory of Diana. And when Catherine steps out wearing the tiara, it is a quiet reminder that Diana's legacy remains intact, and that Catherine is now the one who carries that legacy forward. The emotional weight of the tiara moment goes far beyond what we see on the surface. It is about power, but not the kind that comes from titles or authority. It is about the kind of power that comes from connection. Catherine doesn't just wear the lover's knot tiara because it is a beautiful piece of jewelry. She wears it because it carries with it a deep emotional connection to the past, to Diana, and to the people who still remember her. That connection is something that Camilla, despite her title, can never fully access. In the royal family, the value of symbols cannot be overstated. The tiaras, the jewels, the clothing, they all carry with them a message, a story, and a history. When Catherine wears the lover's knot tiara, she is not just participating in royal tradition, she is embodying the emotional weight of that history, and the public is responding to it. It's a silent but powerful message. Diana's legacy has not been forgotten, and Catherine is the one who will carry it forward. For Camilla, watching this unfold must have been a reminder of her own struggle to gain the same kind of connection with the public, no matter how many jewels she wears or how high her title climbs. Catherine's natural ability to connect with the public, her grace under pressure, and her embodiment of Diana's legacy have placed her in a unique position. While Camilla may hold the title of Queen Consort, it is Catherine who holds the emotional crown. And that, more than anything, may be the true source of the divide between the two women. A divide that, no matter how many tiaras are worn, may never fully close. When Queen Elizabeth passed away, her immense collection of royal jewels, which included tiaras, crowns, brooches, and other priceless pieces, had to be carefully divided according to royal tradition. Each jewel was more than just an ornament. It held personal significance, representing both the legacy of the royal family and the women who wore them. Queen Elizabeth had accumulated a stunning collection over the years, and the division of these treasures was not a matter of personal preference. It was dictated by rank, tradition, and sometimes deep personal decisions that only a few close to the royal family would understand. As Queen Consort, Camilla had the privilege of selecting first from the late Queen's collection. This, of course, was a royal procedure, one that adhered strictly to the protocols of the monarchy. Everyone expected Camilla to claim the lover's knot tiara, the piece that had become synonymous with Princess Diana. After all, as Queen Consort, Camilla held the highest official position among the royal women, and the tiara, with its deep emotional history, seemed like the most fitting choice for her. Diana had worn it during some of the most difficult and poignant moments of her life, and it had become one of her most iconic pieces of jewelry. However, to the surprise of many, Camilla did not select the lover's knot tiara. Instead, it was passed to Catherine, the Princess of Wales. This decision raised eyebrows across the royal world, and the implications of it were felt far beyond the walls of Buckingham Palace. It wasn't just about the tiara. It was about the symbolism of the moment, the message it sent, and the subtle but significant shift it represented within the royal family. The tiara, which had once belonged to Diana, was now in the hands of the woman married to her eldest son, Prince William. And for many, this was more than just a royal gesture. It was a sign of continuity, a quiet yet powerful acknowledgement of Diana's enduring legacy. Inside the palace, this decision didn't go unnoticed. Royal watchers and insiders quickly began speculating about the reasons behind it. Some suggested that Queen Elizabeth had made the decision herself long before her passing. Given her deep emotional connection to Catherine, it seemed plausible that the late queen wanted Diana's beloved tiara to land in the hands of someone who not only honored Diana's memory, but also carried her spirit forward in the royal family. This theory was further fueled by the close bond Catherine had developed with the late queen over the years. Though their relationship was never overly flashy or publicized, it was clear that Catherine had earned the queen's trust and affection. And for many, this decision to pass on the tiara to Catherine felt like a personal tribute from Queen Elizabeth, one last gesture to ensure that Diana's legacy would continue to live on within the royal family. There was another theory, however, that suggested King Charles had quietly supported the idea of passing the lover's knot tiara to Catherine. As the son of Diana, he may have seen this as a way to honor his late wife's memory. In the years following Diana's tragic passing, there were numerous reports of Charles's own struggle with how Diana's legacy continued to shape public perceptions of the royal family. For him, passing the tiara to Catherine could have been a way to bridge the past and the future, allowing Diana's memory to continue through the woman now married to his son. Regardless of the reasoning, the outcome was clear. The tiara that had once belonged to Princess Diana was no longer up for grabs. It had been passed down to Catherine, and the public's reaction was immediate and overwhelming. As soon as images of Catherine wearing the tiara were shared, the internet exploded with admiration. People were quick to compare her to Diana, with many commenting that she resembled the late princess in both style and demeanor. Some even went as far as to say that Catherine was the modern-day Diana, while others remarked that it seemed like destiny had chosen her to continue Diana's legacy. For many, it was as if the tiara had come full circle. It was no longer just an accessory, but a symbol of continuity and a reminder of Diana's undying presence within the royal family. For Camilla, the moment must have been difficult to process. Despite her years of dedication to the royal family, despite all the hard work and effort she had put into earning her place as queen consort, it was Catherine who had captured the public's imagination. The decision to pass the tiara to Catherine seemed to highlight a painful truth that Camilla could never escape. No matter how much she tried, she would never have the same connection with the public that Diana had. And now, Catherine seemed to be the one who had inherited that connection. It wasn't just about wearing the tiara. It was about the emotional significance it held for the public. Diana's legacy had never really been hers to claim, and in that moment, it became even clearer that it would never be. Camilla had spent much of her life dealing with public judgment, especially in the years following her involvement in the breakdown of Diana and Charles's marriage. For many, she remained a controversial figure, someone who had once been seen as an outsider, someone who had been at the center of one of the most painful chapters in royal history. Though she had worked tirelessly to improve her public image and secure her place as queen consort, there was always a sense that she would never fully be embraced by the public, in the same way that Diana had been. And now, as Catherine wore the tiara, it was a reminder that, for many people, Diana's legacy was still alive and well. And it wasn't Camilla who was carrying it forward, but Catherine. This divide between Camilla and Catherine wasn't just about the tiara. It was about the emotional connection that the public felt. No matter how many jewels Camilla wore, no matter how many royal duties she fulfilled, it was clear that Catherine had become the face of the future monarchy. She had the public's affection, and the tiara, by becoming hers, further cemented her role as the future of the royal family. It wasn't just a royal title that gave her this status. It was her connection with the people, her grace under pressure, and her ability to carry forward the legacy of the past while building a future that people could embrace. For Camilla, this must have been a painful realization. Despite everything she had worked for, despite the years of preparation and public service, she would always be in Diana's shadow. And now, with Catherine wearing the lover's knot tiara, it seemed that shadow had only grown larger. No matter how many jewels she wore or how high her position climbed, there would always be a sense that the public's affection, their emotional connection, would never fully belong to her. In the aftermath of that event, Camilla's response was telling. At the next royal event, she appeared with her own tiara, the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a piece that had once been a favorite of Queen Elizabeth. While it was an elegant choice and undoubtedly beautiful, it didn't receive the same level of attention or admiration as the lover's knot. The media barely reacted, and the public seemed to focus all their attention on Catherine. Camilla, despite her status as queen consort, seemed to fade into the background, while Catherine stood at the forefront, the emotional connection between her and the public undeniable. This quiet contrast between the two women spoke volumes. Camilla's attempt to reclaim the spotlight by wearing a historic tiara fell flat, while Catherine's effortless grace, symbolized by her wearing Diana's iconic piece, continued to capture the public's imagination. It wasn't just about who wore what. It was about the deeper meaning behind it, the story each tiara told, and the emotional legacy that was tied to each piece. Catherine's moment with the tiara wasn't just a beautiful piece of royal tradition. It was a powerful reminder of the emotional ties that bind the royal family and the public. The tiara became a symbol of continuity, of the legacy of Diana, and of Catherine's quiet but profound role in carrying that legacy forward. For Camilla, it was a reminder of the emotional distance that remained between her and the public, a distance that no royal title or jewel could bridge. As the royal family continues to navigate its place in the modern world, it's clear that symbols, like tiaras, will continue to play a central role in shaping public perceptions. But in the end, it's the emotional connection, the legacy of the past, and the ability to carry that forward that truly matters. And in that respect, it's clear that Catherine, with her natural grace and connection with the public, has quietly stepped into a role that no royal title or jewel could define. The lover's knot. Tiara, now hers, is more than just a piece of jewelry. It's a symbol of her place in the future of the royal family, and perhaps in the hearts of the people.